Saturday afternoon at the MCG. Geelong versus Essendon. Draper versus Radaglia. A couple of big, important players for their respective sides. Now it's crowded up, so no clear break out of the middle initially. Parfitt, as Jono said, we're looking to elevate and try not to have those niggling injuries and play a more prominent role. It's a good early start for Stewart against his old teammate in Jeremy Cameron.
I know it's early to come in from downstairs, boys, but before the bounce of that ball, felt like a grand final down here with the crowd behind. Outstanding atmosphere.
Perkins, a new look Archie's Perchins this year, kicks up to the 50, not beyond yet. That was Kane Baldwin getting involved. But the Cats able to repel, and as they work the hands, Sell with a little bit of an up and under. Well controlled by Merritt. Perkins again, more depth to Koning, and Radaglia! That's what happens when you put him in the thick of the action early on.
Radaglia with an opening highlight, spreads it across to Stewart, manages it to Guthrie. Looks like he's put on a bit of size over the off-season. And now the ball on the outer side.
Joel Selwood starting forward for the Cats. He's pushing up behind the ball at times, though, as the extra midfielder.
Smith, second year at the Cats after coming across from the Hawks, drives the ball to the outer side, gets out the back. Cameron's dangerous. Little tap from Parfitt was important. There's Stengel, opening touch for the Cats, and Tommy Hawkins will enjoy that.
So Radaglia had pushed inside 50 there. If the kick didn't go short, it went long, then he would have taken an uncontested mark 20 metres out. So doing the work to get back behind the footy, then drifting forward.
665 career goals for the big man in game number 303. 62 goals last year. He was absolutely flushing them in the warm-up. In bright sunshine at the MCG. Crosses the 50 now, that familiar approach. It's coming. What a start by Hawkins to season 2022, and the Cats are away.
It's the perfect side for him, isn't it? With that left to right little drift that he gets. And this is a great start, because this is a bit of the adjustment that we've been hearing about for Geelong, is the ability to just go at the opposition defence more than they have in the past. We know they've been a controlled team, and they've almost defended at times with the ball. But they just embraced it here, took the contest on, were able to win at ground level. Look at the separation from the big man.
It's the tap on from Parfitt here. It's the little things that don't go on the stat sheet that go a long way in the game, and it's proven right there with Parfitt identifying not to take possession, tap it out to Stengel, and he's used the ball inside 50s on show.
Don't say that, the stats men get upset, Jono. They count those tap-ons.
Well, I understand that, but in terms of the context of the kicks, marks and handballs of the game that we talk about.
Thump out of the middle, that was a little bit too one-sided.
I don't know about that, Hutto. I don't think too many kids go home and say, hey, Mum and Dad, I had three tap-ons today.
I used to. Draper decisively out of the middle. What a phenomenon Darcy Parish was last year. He might have to share a little bit more of the load this year. Parfitt got Geelong forward. Interference, and it goes to Stengel. So a confidence boost for him. It's the set-up kick. It's deep. They shuffle forward and back, and Valverde with a size mismatch against Hawkins. It's a big challenge, but he did well there.
Yeah, just weren't on the same page there. Hawkins wanted the ball back into the space he was going to come at. Stengel, he just popped it up thinking he wanted to wrestle Big Tommy, but that's the chemistry they'll develop as time goes by.
Early momentum going the way of the Cats. Back to Valverde. Smith stands the mark. Called to play now. Drives a 40-metre ball down the line. Heppel floats across, can't complete the mark. Atkins at ground level. Tries to clear the space, only gets as far as the boundary line.
So Tom Stewart's the loose at the moment for the Cats, which is exactly the way they like to set things up. He can control his other defenders, set them up so that he can intercept.
And Ridley with that roll at the moment for the Bombers if the Cats go forward. It looks like it's going the other way, though. Draper out to Shield, another one whose season was ruined by injury last year. Henry's got help, and there's Stewart just easing the Cats to the outer side. And Blitzos takes them up.
Just based on what Jono said with Stewart, mopping that one up, and he's going to get it back here. Got to make him accountable as a forward line. Only 1 against 3 down there. You've got to be smarter with your setup.
Higgins fresh on the ground, takes the mark. He too will be looking for an uninterrupted year, injury-wise. His first one in the hoops, not as he would have liked. That's not a well-placed kick, though, as you saw. And McGrath, who's been redeployed back across half-back through the pre-season, shows why there. Takes the mark and gets the Bombers moving again.
Through the skipper, and then Parrish. Already talked about his massive year last year. Good build-up through the middle of the ground now. Caldwell with a little step. Can he hit a target? He does. Shield just outside 50. They're calling it deep. Geelong dropping back now. Just takes a bit off the kick. It'll land 20 from home. Stewart just uses his body on the debutant. And that's Baldwin, and does it really well and releases to the outer side.
Just an experienced mismatch there, Howie.
See how far the Cats forwards pushed up. Cameron has a couple of involvements there. And Zach Guthrie gets the kick. It's a wobbly one though to the wing, and that was pretty easy fodder there for Stewart. Dangerfield wasn't particularly delighted with the delivery he got. Perkins has been a factor on the outskirts of the 50. Clear presentation inside, and Guelphy is going to spend a bit of time more forward than previously. Has got within range here.
Already up to 4 disposals, Perkins. 100%. He's had a say going forward so far for the Bombers, just floating around about 70 metres out from goal.
And he was involved in the presentation to Nick Martin, the other debutant, a fellow West Australian for Essendon this afternoon. So he has the opportunity to kick the first goal for Essendon for season 2022 from just inside the paint. It was, as you saw, never close at all.
That's the blueprint, though, for the Bombers. We know they want to play a forward half game, so create turnovers in their half of the ground, which will give them much better looks, like that example, going back inside 50.
Stewart goes straight down the middle of the MCG. It was Dalhouse. Dangerfield with presence over the footy to Hawkins. Kick the opener. Finds Higgins. Good use of the ball. Hand and foot. Clever hand pass back to Dalhouse. He runs on through half forward. Dishes out to Dangerfield. Whistle. Advantage play. Danger takes it. Takes it. Oh, he takes it all right. The Cats have got too early.
Wasn't perfect, just took territory. That forward handball game, aren't we seeing that just become more and more in vogue? We know Richmond were the pioneers of it 4 or 5 years back. Sides found it really difficult to defend, and it was never perfect for them. We saw Carlton doing bits of it, and Geelong executed it really well here. This man time and space in the forward half. That's the part of his game that has a little bit of room to move too, that ability to finish. Much better on the run that witnessed that shot, Paddy.
That was set up well for him. He kicked 45 goals back in 2017. Game 286 for Patrick Dangerfield. Last year, first time he'd really had an extended period out of the game with suspension and then injury. 8 goals, 7 in 16 games, the least number of goals in games since his first year. We're back with the Crows. So the Cats were the first 2. Bombers have had their share of the football, but Geelong on the scoreboard and looking to build. This is what we've seen in the opening weekend, and there should be no better exponent than Dangerfield, but he'll take that. Cameron takes the mark and gets a clip over the ear hole as well. And you can see what he's going to do, and he's done it. And Geelong have 3.
Not sure I can remember around, Jono, where centre bounce has been so influential in deciding games.
It has been, and you look at Essendon actually for the first 3 or 4 centre bounces have had that ability to have first use of the ball, but Geelong have swarmed, and then it's been 2 or 3 numbers next into their contest have been the hoops of the Cats, and then they've been able to release from that. It's evident again here when you got the fumble from the Bombers in Merritt, and then the next 2 or 3 in are Geelong, and they're out. And away they go, and Dangerfield gets forward here. Deep ball inside 50, didn't hit it as clean as what he would have liked. Danger would have liked 2 in a row. Cameron capitalises.
Early alarm bell for Ben Rutten in the coach's box. 4 inside 50s for 4 scores for Geelong.
Hawkins, Dangerfield and Cameron, the big guns on the board early for the Cats. Essendon need to slow things down, get their hands on the footy. Selwood looking to give it to Dangerfield again. He's everywhere at the moment. Paddy to Tui again. They'll look to go inside 50 again. We heard their efficiency from Nick Riewoldt. Dalhouse. Tui just measures the ball, and again, one of the 2 big units, and it's Cameron.
It's a long way out to go around the corner, boys. He tries to open the angle with a drop punt. 15 gone. Too far out for a snap, you would think.
39 goals last year. 2019 Coleman medalist. Plays on, drives the drop punt. Looks like it's going to float across the face of goal. And it's rushed through from behind. So early concerns for the Bombers.
McGrath going to bring it this side to the members. In the shade of the famous stand. The kick goes up high and it's off hands and knocked back over the line. Tom Stewart already 5 disposals for the Cats out of defence. Perkins with 4 for the Bombers. Draper Stanley, who started on the bench, may have given away the free there. Ducking the hand over the shoulder of Draper. Peter Wright down the line being marked by Sam de Koning. We saw his brother in full flight a couple of nights ago. He's playing his second game. Isaac Smith was one of the short stuff, and he almost would have been within range. Shield tried to tidy up the error. Still up for grabs. McGrath happy to wear the contact. Stengel was going to soccer, realised there was grander things on offer, but well controlled by McGrath. Eventually out to Nick Cox. He takes the mark and he wants to go to Martin.
He can't go quick, though, because Geelong have been so quick to get numbers behind the ball. This is where the Essendon forwards have got to reset.
Langford just pulled up a bit sore there. He's taken the mouth guard out. Hopefully he's okay.
Doesn't look okay.
He grabbed a muscle or a hamstring. We'll keep an eye on that. Dicko will be all over it. Tight on the boundary line.
Worst place to do it, too. He's on the far wing.
Cutler's straight up and striding on the boundary line.
Geelong rock! Geelong rock! Race!
Yeah, he's got concerns there. There's Kyle Langford. Draper and Stanley. Draper with strength down to Ham. His handball eventually gets its way to Shield. He just goes straight off the ground. Smith, tough ball to pick up. Atkins comes in.
Kyle Langford, the most games he's ever played in a season is 18, so this is game 99, the start of his 8th season. So he's always had those injury issues along the way. And terrible way to start the season, if it's like it appears to be. Free kick to the Cats. It's a bright start, and scooting away is Cam Guthrie, prolific ball winner on the advance, and the chest of Tom Hawkins presented. Stengel calling for it in short. That's where it goes. He's got support. Although the Bombers had it well covered through Stewart and the hands were good. And now Ham can deliver out to the wing. Henry seemed to be out of place, but he was able to deny Baldwin. Perkins again, and then Martin flicks the hand past Guelphy's way. Here's Baldwin, had to decide whether to go long or short. They led up to him, so it was the only option in the end. Guelphy from right, quickly shut down. And now de Koning did enough. Isaac Smith on his natural side. Happy to try and back himself in. The bounce didn't oblige. He kept at it. Guelphy ran into Higgins. May have been held without it. And the umpire had the same fault.
Had a bit more possession in the last couple of minutes, the Bombers, Nick.
They have. The pressure from Geelong has been elite, though. Even there, you're happy to wear that free kick, given the intent of the Geelong players to get after it.
Even the way they're closing up the mark, the Cats are quick up on the mark, making the Bombers go back and slow and restricting that handball receive game.
Caldwell in the white boots. High entry, Wright's caught behind. Spills to the ground. Shield picks it up now. Ducks, dives, gives it back to McGrath. Is this what the Bombers are after? It's not. It slides to the right.
That might be him for the day, though, Peter Wright. He's 2v1 there. Stanley looks like he's going to take the mark, but you bring the ball to ground and good things happen.
Bombers missing 4 of their leading 5 goal kickers from last year, so they'll have to find different ways to improvise to score. Redmond. Nice grab. It's a slow re-entry, though. And barely the required distance. Parrish still on the outskirts of the 50. Peter Wright is deep. He's in front. He can't take it. Stanley. There's Bombers everywhere. Devon Smith. They needed that. Smart play. Sees Essendon's first goal for the man who's been a midfielder, a half-back, and then last year moved forward. That's what he needs to do.
Yeah, exactly. Smart at ground level, and that's the challenge for the Cats defenders, because you mentioned it really, Peter Wright's involved in a lot of contests going forward. They are going high a lot to him, and here even de Koning has to takes him out of the contest. So all the focus goes to Peter Wright, and then once that ball hits the deck, Smith was ready to swoop. right place at the right time. They had that contest surrounded pretty well, the Bombers, so they had coverage everywhere at drop of ball. It went to the back. Devon Smith was in the right place at the right time.
Stewart 5 disposals for the Cats, Cameron 4, McGrath leads all with 6, Shield with 5, Hawkins, Dangerfield, Cameron the goal kickers for the Cats, Smith with the opener for Essendon. Crowd continuing to come into the MCG. It's the country game. Shield, now they're getting their hands on it. Merritt, he's the danger man. They loop it back to Parrish, back to Merritt. Typically good by foot. Prime example, Cox, the runner out on the wing. This is better by the Bombers. Shallow entry inside 50. Peter Wright's there, comes to the back again. Guelfield's in position, bounce got away from him to Koning. And now close.
To Parfitt, has to run a little awkwardly back with the flight. He's tracked it pretty well, and it all opens up. It's one-on-one, not perfectly placed for Cameron Stewart. We'll welcome that and the boundary line as well.
Yeah, he'd be a little bit disappointed there, Cameron. All that Parfitt had to do was put it into space. He had 35 metres around him. Jeremy Cameron puts it over his head out of bounds. He would have loved a one-on-one battle in a foot race against Stewart.
He tore them apart briefly before he did his hamstring in that match earlier. Well, late last year, as I mentioned earlier, he was the match winner, even though he played less than a half, Jeremy Cameron. Hawkins got the tap, and he might be able to get through here. Bang it on the boot and kick his second goal.
He did it all last year, Tom Hawkins, at forward 50s boundary throw-ins, and he started to get another goal assist to Tom Hawkins in a role that he's become the best in the competition at.
Well, you said Jeremy Cameron would have been disappointed he didn't get a foot race with James Stewart. He got one about 15 seconds later and he torched him.
You know what, though? He's taken James Stewart into an area that he doesn't want to be, and that's in a forward stoppage. And you can see there his ball watching. He was able just to sneak out the back.
Well, that's the critical mistake. You just can't afford to let the forward get goal side of you in that situation. I know you're protecting the left foot and the wraparound, but a bit of body work to force him in a direction that you want him to go would have done the trick. It's a hot start from the Cats.
Ben Dixon.
Kyle Langford, we saw an injury on the far side. He's in the back stalls of the bench now. Tom Cutler's been activated as the medical sub to come on.
Bad news for Langford.
The positive is, in terms of all of that, is Cutler can run. So he'll come out, he'll produce run, can find plenty of the footy.
Evans, the medical sub for the Cats, who move forward again. Guthrie Senior. Somehow just tunnel balls it out to Selwood. That's clever. Really clever to Dalhouse from 48. Another one for the Cats. Dalhouse loves it. And Geelong fans all around the country are saying this side. They're set again. 5-2 to 1-1.
The Bombers are just so in tight with the contest at the moment, and Geelong, when they win it, the flick to the outside is where all their coverage is. Ball bobbling around here, out to the outside. Look at Essendon all come in 3-4 in tight, looking for holding the ball. Comes out.
Yeah, so Merritt was the bomber that came almost around the back of the scrimmage, but didn't really turn his head and have an awareness of what was behind him. It wasn't his direct opponent, but sometimes that's just your role as the defensive player in that position. And if the ball comes out and you've got players goal side, you're going to pay the price, particularly with this Geelong forward line, the way they're functioning.
Great to see the power back in the legs of Luke Dalhouse there, kicking a goal from just inside the 50 and doing it comfortably. 5-2, 32 to 1-1-7. Shield. Bombers on a quick entry. Early work done by Guelphy, but the good counter came from Zach Guthrie. Gets it to the line.
You're right with Dalhouse. That's probably the longest kick he's kicked in the last couple of years. He was getting to 35-40 and struggling on set shots. So got himself right and stronger again over the summer.
It starts rucking in the defensive 50 for the Cats. They're on alert. Smith's actually guarded by Guthrie. It goes Geelong's way instead. Selwood had a good time to assess. Close. We've seen him cover a lot of territory as the Cats forward push all the way back. And now Dangerfield with the decision to make. And he's going to charge on and take the territory. And go for the height of Hawkins and Ratugolea. And both their opponents drawn into the contest as well. And Ridley, with the anticipation, sees it out.
It's just the efficiency for Geelong. 9 entries, one less than Essendon have had for 7 shots on goal. 2 goals already from centre bounce as well for a team that averaged 10 points a game from that part of the ground last year. So a bit to think about in the Essendon coach's box at the moment.
Back at it again. Clever, well identified by Guthrie. Dangerfield had faith in his left, and he always has faith in Tom Hawkins. He'll just work to that pocket all day long.
Back with me. Back with me.
And around the body, probably on the left this time.
Tom. Tom. He's call.
Loves this spot. The Fox follow. They're watching him closely, as is everyone around the MCG. The big guns are firing for the Cats. This time, though, Tom Hawkins clips the post.
What are you doing if you're Ben Rutten? Rude, Brad?
Breaks the quarter time.
Oh, I think you just got to try and get your hands on the footy. I know they're a team that like to go quick and test the opposition. So when we win it, let's just try and get a bit of control into the game.
Move it well towards the wing. Parrish supports the pass.
Yeah, ball in dispute, structure around ball in dispute hasn't been great from the Bombers in this first quarter.
They can't go forward because there's 3 Cats back in defensive 50 and no Bombers in attack at the moment. So hence the fact they're having to mess around with it a bit in the middle of the ground.
But you played yourself on into pressure there. You didn't need to give that handball.
Kelly finds Redmond.
So, yeah, that might be the way you want to play, you know, in a 0-0 situation. But there comes a time for a bit of tempo.
Now they go forward. Draper's collected. So can they hit a target deep? Draper by hand. Merritt just massages the ball. And he finds the number 6, Jai Caldwell.
Sometimes to achieve that, Howie, you just need the ball in the hands of the good users, the smart decision makers, and that's what that was there.
Because all the Cats were back on their heels, folding back deep, waiting for the long kick in from Draper. Smart use of the ball by Merritt.
Did his hamstring early, round 2, didn't play again till the elimination final, Caldwell. Gee, they need this, the Bombers, just to calm things down a bit. From right on the paint of 50, gets underneath it. Looks pretty good off the boot, though. Good finish, much needed by the Essendon Footy Club.
Absolutely flushed that Caldwell, but it was the build-up that you were talking about, Roo. They were a little bit more controlled across the middle of the ground. Merritt, Draper was on for this kick. It was a little bit floated again. Stanley did the right thing to come up and compress. He was back inside defensive 50, but giving away another free kick. That's a couple for the quarter now on Draper from Stanley. And Merritt with that ball use again. Inside 50, clean.
Huge raps on Caldwell.
Just his 15th game of footy, only 3 last year, as how he said. A number of Bombers hurt in that round 2 match against Port Adelaide, and it ended up opening up opportunities for Darcy Parish and others, and it turned into a blessing in a way, even though it came at such a huge cost injury-wise. Draper was another one that went down, and Shield in that game. First time on the MCG for Jai Caldwell as a senior AFL footballer, and he kicks the 2nd goal of his career. Still plenty of time in this opening term for them to get back on almost level terms if they can get going. Stanley releases Dangerfield, and the path is clear, and he just eased it through for behind. Wow.
So the trouble now is we've seen Patrick Dangerfield in that situation 3 times. In days gone by, you would send an extra around to the back of the square to come in and meet him.
Or your sweeper just holds back a little bit there. And they need to go back to that. They need their deepest mid to really hold back off that contest for the time being.
4 inside 50s already to Paddy Dangerfield. He's got another possession here, number 10. Spreads it across the attacking 50. Here comes Radagalier, already taking a hanger early. Close, dangerous around goal. Brings it to ground. Stengle's in there, back to Radagalier. Immediately run down by Cutler, who is the medical sub on for Langford, who looks like he's got a hamstring issue. Bombers need to be careful out of defence. Clever hand pass. Now they'll work it down the outer wing. Kolajasny gives no room at all to Baldwin on debut, and Stewart sees it across the line.
Kane Baldwin, as we saw during the week, a real emotional opportunity for him. 2 knee reconstructions. He could have gone in the top 10. That was how well he was rated until the ACLs, but gets his chance as a rookie. The coach himself a rookie, Ben Rutten, back at Adelaide days. Shield, extra number for the Cats, and they utilised it well. Bledsoe's off to Atkins, back to the wing, and they're well stocked there to be able to move it further. As Parfitt immediately trying to bring it in as they just edge forward. Zach Guthrie off to Higgins. So loaded deep. Stengle's going to have to fly. It's going to be tough, and it was too tough in the end. There's Laverda.
The other issue for the Bombers on turnover is they're not getting back quick enough, obviously defending. So not getting on the defensive side and stopping Geelong's run. They've had the offensive side the whole time on turnover, so big issue for Rutten to address at quarter time.
Let's stick out McGrath beyond the wing and beautifully anticipated by Reece Stanley.
Stanley to Stewart, back and across to Kolodjasny. Goodsarves provides a shepherd, now to Smith. It's the long lope going. Front of the interchange, a 60-metre ball. Down towards Hawkins, gets front position, he was just too strong. Cameron came back the other way. There's a couple down. Cameron came back and really went hard into the pack.
Yeah, he thought that, I think Hawkins was going to block for him to come back onto it, but the kick was suited for Hawkins. Both players there. Eyes on the footy.
Laverde was collected as well.
Yep.
He's still not up. Cameron's up and about. Laverde not so much.
As we said, Harry, they'd already activated their sub.
Yeah.
Essendon. That's better science.
That was due to Langford and that, like a hamstring.
Jeremy Cameron showing great care there.
Yeah, well,
Yeah,
mutual
good.
respect, because they both did the dangerous thing and went back with it. It doesn't look to be any head,
No,
really, does it?
It's through the ribs there of Laverde.
Oh, he's in real strife.
Yeah, or maybe even be
Even the hip.
the body contact. Yeah, spot on to go through that hip.
Yeah, early injury concerns for Essendon. Meanwhile, Hawkins kicked the opener. He's lining up for his second. He's really struggling.
15 gone.
Hawkins to make it 6 for the term for the Cats. Just floats out to the right. Hits it well. Hits it really well. Tommy Hawkins, you are a star. Tom's got 2. The Cats have got 6. And Essendon have got injuries early.
Yeah, so we clearly focused on the collision, but let's have a look at how early Tom Hawkins engages Laverde here with his body work. So he initiates the contact. Usually it's the defender that's trying to initiate the contact with the forward, but that's forward craft. That's what you learn over 15 seasons of playing in the position, when to engage, when to play off, when to come at the ball, and his timing is just perfect.
He's listed, Nick, this year, Tommy Hawkins, at 104 kilos. Laverde's at 90. 104 kilos.
A lot of man, Howie. It's a lot of man.
That's a lot of beef on the big farmer.
Oh, yeah. But what makes him so hard to play on is his explosiveness as well. We've seen him be able to create 5 metres of separation off the mark as well. So size and power, big weapons.
An extraordinary longevity, more than 20 games in 9 of his last 10 years for a big man. Out of the middle, Parfitt, Tui, he's almost close enough. He doesn't overextend. Instead, he goes to the hawk again. Who this time is happy to try and share the love. Maybe not so wise as it turned out. Close kept it alive. Stengel for a Cat goal. No, not yet.
What did you play at, Nick? Big Tommy's 104. What were you?
Well, fluctuated around, Howie.
From?
94-ish to up around 100.
Okay. What about you, Jono?
Nowhere near that.
Not in the
85
100 territory.
kg.
75,
75 to 85.
Parfitt drops the ball 30 from home. They're under siege at the moment, the Bombers defenders.
105 after a couple off seasons, Howie.
A couple of those trips to Texas.
This is the first time I've seen them getting a little bit of width. So open the game up, get some holes, obviously try and get your way through Geelong.
Kelly's hand pass puts Parrish in a bit of trouble, but the kick to Kelly made it difficult for him.
And that's the difference at the moment, Dicko, is that final kick where they need that release to centre-half back that's letting them down.
Straight up, straight up. Give it to him.
Stewart's deep on Hawkins. He'll be a worried man.
Clear out. Honey, Patrick, clear out now. Stand.
Isaac Smith wanted the little short handball.
You can see Hawkins he's almost just playing head there.
Yeah.
Expect the burst to come at some stage.
Radagalere's deep as well. It favours Radigalere. He's going to have to take 2 of them. Draper floats across. provides good support for his fellow defender. Cam Guthrie ducks, dives, gets on the left, sends it back towards Radaglia. Draper, well done again by Draper to Stewart. And the substitute, Cutler, gets himself in a bit of trouble, has to hook it round the corner out of defence. Bombers fly now, they're still got to come here, the Cats. Eventually the Bombers get hands on the footy, and Perkins, who's been one of their best, gives them a little bit of space.
He's been their best in this quarter.
Kelly to Shield. Adventurous kick for Parrish, who just couldn't quite finish. And now Holmes can send Higgins forward. Parfitt, there's one more give to the inside. Atkins, forwards were leading both ways. He's gone wide for Radaglia. This will test his agility. Stewart doesn't want to overcommit. So back he goes, just heaves it. And Essendon look well stocked if they don't get in each other's way. Redmond. Out of the chest and then off. Tui, well within range. Pretty simple for the Cats at the moment. It's been a dominating opening quarter. 7 goals, 5. Jeremy Cameron, though, limping down. Is that just a follow-on from the incident?
Yeah, he's just grabbing his right ribs as he was walking off the ground.
The Dangerfield effort there was the one that set it up. So the Bombers had 3 or 4 guys camped in the hole that looked like one of them was just going to swallow the mark. But the effort for Dangerfield, he was 15 metres off the ball, put his head down, just got a fingernail in, but it was enough to keep the ball in play. The pressure caused the turnover. And they get their 7th goal.
Thanks, boys. Here we go.
Seen a couple of teams top the 100, which is great for the viewing audience. Geelong already 47 in the first quarter. Dangerfield with 11, 5 inside 50s, 1 goal, 1. Parfitt's had 9, Selwood 7. Hawkins has got a couple of goals. Mr. Cameron, although he's off the ground. Langford has done a hamstring, and Laverde also seems to have a problem with his ribs. Seen wild swings of momentum throughout the opening round so far. Needs something like that to go now. The Bombers, Parfitt, Dangerfield, another inside 50 is 6th. Cutler, Stengel, boundary.
Got in. Sam. Saba. Yep. Saba, just put your hand up.
Cats forwards have seen it 8 more times than their Essendon opponents at the other end of the ground, and they've turned that into 7 goals, 5. A powerful display first up. Radaglia and Draper. Just flipped up by Draper. And now Hind, who was one of the real success stories for Essendon, and indeed in the competition last year. It was a delicate little kick and just a nervous moment as it bounced, but accommodated Stewart. And Cox. Well closed out by Colin Glasgow. 12-7, the spoil, so they're defending well.
It's doing all parts of the game really well, the Cats in this first quarter.
Stanley and Draper jumped early, as you saw. Stanley. Dangerfield. Holmes. Hawkins stands. Tried to deny Stewart, who fought on pretty gamely under the circumstances. Martin carved a path through. It's been a good start for his AFL career, Nick Martin. The siren sounds, and in the brilliant sunshine at the MCG, there's more than a headache at the moment for Ben Rutten. He's got 2 players in.